Hey, hi all. Welcome back to BRR Knowledge Center. In this today's topic is Ocelot API Gateway. So, what is an API gateway? API gateway is a single entry point for all backend microservices. So, as part of microservices architecture, right? API gateway is one of the design pattern. We're going to use it as part of designing microservices. So this simple API gateway, what it is doing is it is just accepting the API request coming from the client, that means the browsers, right? And process them based on the defined policies and directs them to the appropriate backend services. If required, it will combine the responses for a simplified user experience in aggregate or composition kind of requirement. Typically, it handles a request by invoking multiple microservices and aggregate the result if required. Okay. So when it comes to this API gateways, there are so many API gateways available in the market. Okay. The definition of API gateway is, right? So an API gateway accepts API requests from the clients, right? Process them based on appropriate backend services or backend services or microservices. That is what the definition of microservices API gateway. Okay, so it is a single entry point for any API request and do some right common generic functionalities at one place, like authentication, right, and aggregation if anything is required, or rate limit, TLS termination, or security validation, and if anything else, logging, right? All these things can be done in a single place, that is called API gateway. Okay, or versioning if you want, right? Or caching, right? So many things can be done, right? Using API gateway. So that's how it is going to perform some common functionalities which belongs to all microservices. Okay, this is single entry point for all backend microservices, right? So now when it comes to this API gateway types, we have so many API gateways in the market, right? Let me tell you some of them as Amazon API gateway or Azure API gateway. So Amazon Cloud is providing their own gateway, right? Similarly, Azure is going to have, right, Azure, API management, and Google API is going to have their own API gateway called Google API Gateway, and Kong API Gateway, Google API Gateway, and Kong API Gateway, right? So like that, we have a different API gateways available in the market. Okay, so that's how it is happening, the navigation between microservices and the API gateway. Okay, after this, where is the space line? So indent, multiple space. Okay, so anyway, these are some of the API gateways, right, which we are using as part of uh, microservices architecture. Okay, so now Ocelot API gateway is one of the API gateway, right? We're going to use it as part of .NET because this belongs to .NET. Ocelot is a .NET API gateway. Okay, so coming to this, Ocelot is a .NET, right? API gateway, correct? This right? This is basically running in .NET Core and next versions, not in before versions. That means .NET Core 3, 4, 5, .NET 6, 7, 8. These versions are supporting, right? Basically, this API gateway running on, right, the platforms which are supporting ASP.NET Core. Okay. So when it comes to this, Ocelot API gateway, right, it's a bunch of middleware in a specific order. This Ocelot manipulates the request object into a state of, its configuration until it reaches to the request builder, where it creates request message. Okay, so it is very simple to create this, the Ocelot API gateway, right? Okay, Ocelot is a .NET API gateway, just to give you, and it is designed to work with ASP.NET core projects and is currently right on .NET 8.0. Can be used 6 and 7 also. Okay. So how we are going to use this as part of .NET projects. So if you want to install or set up this Ocelot API gateway, you need to install Ocelot NuGet package. Okay. So the installing steps is or installing Ocelot API gateway. So let me try this gateway. The first step is we need to install, right, NuGet, a package called Ocelot. Okay, this is the package we have to install. Okay, so once you install that, it is directly adding the reference to your .NET project. Okay, so let me show you like how it is going to install it, and based on that, you will understand how it is going to work on .NET projects. Okay, so this can be directly installed using a .NET, add package Ocelot. This is the command. You can directly use it in command prompt. Okay, so it is going to install Ocelot and its dependent libraries into the current project and give a reference. Okay, so once it is done, you just go to program.cs file and start writing your the Ocelot configurations for downstream and upstream validations. So let me go to the Visual Studio and tell you like how I'm going to create this. Okay. Now I'm going to create new project, and I'm going to choose ASP.NET Core Web API, and I'm just giving this demo Ocelot API gateway, right? And I'm going to save this in some of the drive and my local and click on next. I'm just having latest version of .NET 8. I'll just uncheck this configuration for HTTPS for now. If you want, you can keep as it is. Just click on create. It will create, right, the skeleton of the Ocelot API gateway. Okay. So this is what the project it is creating it. Okay. So once it is done, you just remove this unnecessary stuff. So it is not required, and this is also not required, and this is also not required. Okay. Once it is done, the first step is you need to install Ocelot, right? So to install that, one thing is you directly go to this command prompt, like in this way. Open this, right? Go to the container path or folder, right? What it is doing is it is coming and displaying here, right? And from here, I'm going to command prompt, and I'm going to run .NET package Ocelot. When I run this, so what is the command? Ocelot. .NET add package. You miss. We have run this. So once you run this .NET add package Ocelot, it is going to add the relevant libraries to your current project. Okay. So now once it is done, you go back to your project, right? For me, where it is here, right? And check this package. It's not coming. And is we'll just refresh this. Refresh. Close this. Solution Explorer. Now we can see still it is not loading. Select. Okay. Let me try to import it and see that whether it is already installed or not. No, still it is not coming here. What we'll do is we'll close this and open. That way you will see that. Otherwise, you will refresh this, right? And make sure things are creating fine. So I'm just opening. So still it is not coming. So where exactly it is installed here? .NET 10 mind ticket status. Okay. Split package. I think we'll try some solution that is very good in installing it, make it package. So Ocelot and browse this and directly select this Ocelot. Okay, this is the latest version and it is supporting versions also. It is telling here like 6, 7, 8. Just install this and it is come up with dependent libraries. This is the one of the dependent library, light extensions dot dependency injection. So apply this, accept. So it is going to install. So now it is installing it. So once it is installed, next thing is you need to add the Ocelot API gateway into program.cs file. Just close this and make sure it is adding to your packages, right? Now what you have to do is go to program.cs file. Here, you just define Ocelot middleware, Ocelot middleware, same way using Ocelot dependency injection. These are the required namespaces you need to import here. So once after done this, right, here we need to add, right, the Ocelot configuration basically. Thing is, it is basically working based on the JSON file, Ocelot JSON file. Just add Ocelot JSON file here, add new item, Ocelot JSON. It is just adding here. And as part of this Ocelot JSON, we need to make sure we are going to add the roots. Okay. I'm just sharing the screen here where it is like, what are all the things it is required to do this. So first thing is we need to add this configuration. Let me go back to my solution, add this. So this is the first thing I need to add it, right? It is global configuration and base URL. For me, the base URL is, let me go back here. It is nothing. So let me check this URL. What is my base URL is global settings, packages, code, resources, right, application. And here, not exactly this general applications. Let me save this and try to run this so that you will be knowing like on what port it is running. So that URL you have to give it here. So this is what the URL, right? So I'm going to take this URL, okay? And that URL I have to mention it here as the base URL. This is my URL. And this root's basically having all your individual microservices. Okay, this root is having all individual microservices. Okay, that's what going forward my intention is. That means this basically having down different kind of things like this is something downstream path. That means the original API path you have to give it. That is downstream path template, right? And after that, sorry, okay, man. Okay, let us say like I'm just having a service called locations downstream path. Yeah. And next one is downstream scheme. So I'm copying this so that you're aware of what is inside of it very clearly. Okay. So I'm just copying this path from other, microservices. Like, let me copy this port number for very clear. Okay. So these are my details. What is happening? Why it is splitting? I don't know. Roots. Value must be one of the following type. No, what happened? Why this is user details as my first endpoint. The scheme is HTTP. This, this, this is one thing. This is, I don't know what I've copied. So did I copy everything? No, sorry. I have to make sure to copy everything very clearly because this is what the syntax. Why it is putting all the commas? I don't know. Let me go to website and take the URLs from here. That's a good idea. So this is the roots path actually. So I'll take this root. I'll try to copy it here for better understanding. Where is that? Okay, and this is not required. This is also not copying. Why? Select JSON. That is the problem. Let me do one thing. 5179, right? Go back here. And I'll try to copy and paste to. Paste it. Now it is coming fine. So somehow I missed something. So this is 5179, right? Now this is the URL downstream path. So this basically belongs to original microservice in the backend and the kind of scheme you are going to use it. And host, you are going to mention this like For me, it is localhost, and port number by default is 80. And upstream is, that means this is the actual endpoint I'm going to use it via hosted API gateway. So I can say this is something different. So this is again upstream path is right. Again, it is get. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I have some microservices which have been already done as part of this. Like this is one of the microservice I'm running it, EMP registration process, right? So basically having different kind of endpoints like get employee v2, again get employee based on ID, and add employee and delete employee. So these are the different things I'm having it. So if you wanted to access this microservice via Ocelot API gateway, what I'm going to do is let me run this, right? So when I'm running it, this is what my IP. Clear? Now going back to here, right? So what is the URL you are trying to run is localhost 80 port number. Okay. But when it comes to Ocelot API gateway, you make sure that right whatever the actual thing you are using, that has to be specified here. Okay. So right now I'm just giving the endpoints of actual service here. Okay. For me, localhost and HTTP. And here I'm going to say locations. And the downstream, what I'm going to say is just saying locations. And this is this slash. Now try to run this with just locations. This is the name I'm going to give it. Or I can say this is location details. I'm going to call it as. When I run this, right, this API gateway is running now. Okay. And this is what 5179, right? Here, 5179, my upstream is location details. Location details. When I press this, it is 5179 location details. Can't be found. Oops. Locations. Is it not found? Oh my God. Okay, let me give this slash. Let me run this. 779 location details. Still not coming. Location details. Why? So let me go back to this URL where that is location details is running, right? Uh, sorry, employee is running, right? So I must make sure employee API version 1.0 employee. So it is not working. EMP, sorry. This is the actual endpoint. Now let me remove these breakpoints and say this, the data retrieved here from an individual API. Okay. This individual API wanted to route through Ocelot API gateway. Okay. So let me go back, take this, the URI, right? Go to your Ocelot API gateway. Okay. Where is that? So close this. And this is what your URL, right? So my question comes here, localhost. This is my IP. And this is what actual downstream it has to execute. Okay. Let me remove this. Okay. These are EMP details. Okay. Let me run this. Coming here. 5179. Right. EMP details. This is not working because once after you mention this Ocelot JSON, you need to add the two Ocelot API gateway in the right, like program.cs file, right? That's how it is going to recognize. So adding, right, Ocelot configuration. So for this, what I'm trying to add is builder dot services, sorry, configuration dot, okay, add JSON file of, what is the JSON file? Ocelot dot JSON, okay, and some optional parameters can be given, like optional is false, and reload whenever it is changed be true. Once after you add this, next thing is you need to say use Ocelot here. So after routing or after before run, right, app dot use Ocelot, use Ocelot. So this is the statement you need to add it. So this is a synchronous process, just mention await. So this is one line and this is another line, you need to add it in program.cs file. Now let's run this. Is running Ocelot API gateway. Oops, what happened? Reference. Okay. Let me remove this if this is the case. What is happening? Ocelot has to be invoked, right? No. What is the exception it is taking me? Ocelot is middleware. Okay. Any reference we missed? Let me check. Ocelot middleware and Ocelot dependency injection. We try to add Microsoft.asp.co.builder using Microsoft extension host, using Microsoft dependency injection, Microsoft.extension.dependency injection. Let me try now. Wait. Let me run this. No, still problem. Use Ocelot or try to add Ocelot, use Ocelot. This thing can be done this way also. It is not working. Builder configuration add JSON file. Ocelot JSON optional false reload change. That is fine. Oh, we need to add a Ocelot, right? So here app dot sorry builder dot services dot builder dot services dot add Ocelot, okay, of builder configurations. This has to be added because this configuration needs to be added to Ocelot. Now let me execute this. Now it is running, okay. If you look at this, it is fine, okay, and this also coming fine. Now what I'm trying to do is, right, EMP details. Now look at this, I got the result from EMP details. So if you look at here, it is just showing the trace, right? This is navigated to the appropriate endpoint API version 1.0, right? This is actually the original microservices, okay? And by navigating to here, it is fetching the data, okay? This is what the data it is fetching now, okay? So even if you look at here, This is what downstream path, and this is what my API gateway endpoint. Okay. So this can be changed anything like employee data. I can change anything. But this versional whatever microservice downstream path should not be changed. Okay. Uh, where is this? This is still running. Uh, what? This is fine. And it's closing this. Save, run this again. Okay. Close this and try to run. When I run this, I get the stuff. I'll just try to run this with employee data. I'm able to fetch the data because it is hitting this upstream template and it navigates to downstream template path, which is a original microservice endpoint. So this way you can add n number of microservices downstream path here and as well as upstream path. This upstream path is going to be exposed to the end user. They just come up with this upstream path and this behind the scene, it is not going to be exposed. So this just for reference using by Ocelot API Gateway. Similar way you can use, right, other common features like rate limit, right, or any versioning or any kind of other stuff like uh, the caching, right, authentication, all those stuffs you can add it here as part of this service. Suppose I wanted to add some rate limit for this endpoint, like every 2 seconds, right? Only I'm going to hit this endpoint. Okay, so how to do this? So to add the rate limit, so we have some configuration. Okay, that is after this particular endpoint, right? Once after you add your endpoint details, okay, so what you have to do is you need to add the rate limit settings. So this is the rate limit settings. I'm just having it comma, it's not required. It's the rate limit. Okay. I think it's better to copy it from the website so that you will not confuse it. So there are sections here to implement a rate limit, right? You go and see here a rate limiting, where it is here, and it is going to give you the settings. This is the setting we have to copy this. So for me, it is required. I'll just copy it here. Okay. So now, what it is doing is this is the whitelist of any strings or endpoints. If you want to whitelist, enable rate limit. Period is 2 seconds. I wanted to give it. Estimate seconds. If you want minutes, you just say 2M. If you want hours, just say 2H. If you want 2 days, just say 2D. Period time span 1 second. No, it is 2 seconds. Rate limit is right only 1. Okay. 20 seconds. That's fine. 50 seconds, minutes. Now, when I run this, something went wrong in this upstream and rate limit. Let me check. Comma. So also remove this. Remove this. Remove this. You know what is the problem here? Rate limit, period of time span, period, true, and this is also good enough. Okay, this is closing here. This is roots, it is closing, but where this is, I think we need one more. Not sure. This is closing. This is rate limit is closing here, and this is here. Let me try to run this. Now it is fine. So now open this. Employee details. First time it is coming. Now you can see API calls quota exceeded maximum admitted 1 per 2 seconds. It won't work. After 1 second, you try this. So till 1 second, it won't work. Multiple requests. That means every 2 seconds you're going to allow to hit. Let me say 5 seconds. Okay. That means every 5 seconds I'm going to make one hit. Okay, let me go back and try to run this. Let's employee data. Let's refresh this. It is not coming. Refresh this. Refresh this. Not coming. Okay. So I admitted one for 5 seconds. Every 5 seconds it is giving one call. Thereafter it won't execute. Okay. The better I think you go and check in the postman, which is very comfort to check this kind of scenarios. Let me paste this, get, send. I got a response here. And when I say this, right, I can see, right, 429, too many requests. The user has sent too many requests in a given amount of time intended for user with rate limiting schemes posed in any internet traffic. So every 5 seconds, only one hit you are configure. You are supposed to hit. And beyond that, it will tell you when you hit API calls quota exceeded. Every 5 seconds, it is fine. After 5 seconds only, you need to make another hit. Okay. And similar way, you can implement any caching. So you can see different options here as part of this Ocelot configuration. All these common things can be done like authorization if you want authentication, like JW to bearer token if you wanted to pass via API gateway, then you need to add this particular stuff, right? Inside of program.cs and then pass the bearer token via header and check that. So we'll see that bearer token authentication next video. Okay. So I hope you understood the concept of Ocelot API gateway, how it is sitting right between application and user and navigate right to the appropriate backend API. Okay. Thanks for listening to this video and please subscribe this channel for more videos. Thank you.